Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out of this world story from our space. Girlfriend of 7 years cheated. We broke up. It's 5 months later. There's hope. Straight male, 26. Caught my girlfriend of 8 years cheating on me via her text messages. She was literally passed out with the phone in hand and text app with the dude up. He's someone from work she claims she hasn't done anything besides sexting, which I don't believe. She started her first full-time job as an LPN about 9 months ago, and she had a pretty hard time adjusting to working full-time and having social life. Wanted to do far fewer things with friends, generally needed her days off to be spent home watching TV, and generally not wanting to do anything. It also seemed to kill her sex drive. I decided to be patient with her as I had started full-time work 1.5 years before her, and the existential dread of working for a living was fresh in my mind. But it never got better. Not really, at least. And then this happened. She says she still loves me and doesn't know why she did it, but did say she feels like we stagnated a bit, which I agree, but I tend to put that stagnation on her as I try to get her out and about all the time with little success. The trust is gone, 8 years down the drain. I feel utterly worthless. A mixture of wanting to punch a hole in the wall, giving her a second chance, and wanting to move out in the morning. I don't know what to do. I've been in this boat before, but my other exes I had only really dated for a few months at the most. Slight silver lining, which is really just bitterness, is that I nearly make twice as much as her, and I would take all of her friends with me as they've been my friends even longer than I've dated her, and she only sees them when I'm around. After rereading, I can see that the writing may have been on the walls for a while, but I don't want it to get twisted. Up until today, I have been happy with her, even if we didn't get out all that often. I don't know what to do. I'm completely devastated. Edit. Next day update. I started moving my crap out today after a pretty sleepless night. I texted her a few too many times about how she threw away our relationship after everything we've been through, and that I'm just completely heartbroken. She's with family out of state this weekend, so I will move the rest of my crap out. At this moment, I know I have to let her go. I don't know how I'll feel in 5 minutes or tomorrow, but right now it's over. She had so many choices before getting caught, and 1 or 2 after to try to set this right, and she botched all of them. I just want to be loved, man. Edit. 1 week-ish update. I don't know if anyone will read this now that it's old, but I may use this as a journal myself, or take it offline and do the same. Anyway, this has been the hardest week of my entire life. We broke it off completely on Monday when we met in person. She said she is sorry, still loves me, but we can't be together right now. F her for being such a coward throwing in the still love you. 1/3 of the time I've been inconsolably crying and thinking about what could have, should have been, what I did wrong, my sexual failure, or at least perceived, and just basically everything about the end of the relationship. Another 1/3 of the time I genuinely think that I've dodged a bullet, and that she wasn't right for me for a lot longer than I'm willing to admit. I thought about how I'm going to take action to take control over my life, such as therapy, going to the gym, and going to do things I want to do that I hadn't got to do over the last 8 years. The final 1/3 is an effed up mix of screaming into the abyss that she's a horrible person that I'm totally going to take back if she lets me, and that it is going to ruin my life. These thought patterns loop like this all day. Last night was the first night I got more than 4 hours of sleep, thanks to an Ambien and some melatonin, only 6 hours. Work has been impossible, but I've shown up every day so far. I got a Tinder and Bumble on Monday. They're both deleted today. That was freaking stupid of me. Her saying she isn't sexually attracted to me anymore is going to F with me for a long time, I can tell. I've seen one of my friends every day since it happened. That has helped temporarily. Being alone is really, really bad right now. I can't bring myself to listen to music or play any video games, 2 of my favorite escapes. Update. I posted on here 4.5-ish months ago about getting cheated on, and then added some updates over the weeks following, basically just jotting my thoughts. It can be found here, original post. Very brief recap. 7 years dating, planned on getting married. She cheats, I catch her, we break up. I lose my mind for a while. It is literally the worst feeling, depression I've ever had in my life. No kids together. 4.5 months later. I got put on Lexapro and Buspirone pretty much 2 weeks after the breakup. I'm finally weaning myself off the Lexapro as the major depressive feelings have mostly gone away. I've been talking to a therapist who has been really helpful with me getting to think more self-confidently and rationally about things. Not just my ex, but other relationships and life situations as well. I've talked to my ex exactly once since we cut it off, and it was just to warn her that I may have some highway toll bills going to her house, but I have zero desire to talk to her about the breakup or anything else at this point. I've been dating a few different people. All of them I've told that I'm not trying to be exclusive. Dating is pretty fun, if not a bit damaging to my wallet. I don't like having too much free time with myself and my thoughts, so it's been keeping me busy. Also, holy crap, I was missing out on how good sex could be. I thought it was a problem with me, but I'm pretty sure my ex was just sexually busted. I will say I really miss the feeling of having my person. Like, just the person I can say anything to and feel like they will be there for me. You know, a significant other. After dating different people, looking back at the relationship with my ex, and talking through both of these things with my therapist, I feel like I've uncovered a lot of blind spots I've had and really started considering the needs and expectation I need in a relationship. They definitely weren't all being met by my ex, and don't get all met by the people I've been dating. I know it will be a long road, but I just wanted to make this update as a slight beacon of hope for you folks going through it. It will get easier. You are not at fault. You are not the problem. For F's sake, don't stay with a cheater. You can do so much better. And if you take nothing else from this, therapy is an amazing tool for working through this extremely difficult time. First reaction comes from not an original story. This gives me hope. I'm in the losing my mind phase right now. After 7+ years of what I thought was a truly solid partnership filled with love and compassion and understanding, his betrayal has twisted my mind in ways I don't know if I can come back from. I go from moment to moment, feeling strong and then feeling broken. I really miss my person, and it's so hard having to stop myself from texting him just to tell him something dumb that happened on my walk today. I hope that my healing journey gets me to a point where I can make a post like this, reflecting back and knowing I'm truly better off without him. Next up, Tip Radiant 8129 says, haha, feel you on the damage on wallet of dates these days. I've now switched to drinks only at night and coffee dates for some online dates. No dinner dates for any first date. I'm sure your ex is like mine. Did not admit she did anything so wrong and excuses her behavior. Time helps. I forget how it was like to have that person. We'll find a new that person soon. On to the next story. Hurting. Wife continues to cheat. Not sure what to do. Need advice. My wife of 10 years can't stop cheating. In 2017, I uncovered 2 inappropriate relationships she was having outside of our marriage. Pictures, sexting, meeting in person while I was gone for work. I hired a private investigator to confirm a guy was coming to my house while I was gone, and we caught him. I filed for divorce about a month later and lived through probably the toughest time of my life. During this time, we both went to therapy, separately, and I started to have second thoughts about leaving. We have 2 young children, and ruining their lives seemed almost as bad as the cheating, so I called off the divorce. Since then, my wife has been in therapy on and off, and outside of some typical marital issues, our lives have been normal. Or so I thought. Last month, while having sex, she called me another man's name. We both had been drinking, so I shrugged it off. Another night, after she'd been drinking and had taken an Ambien, she started talking to me like I was another person. Over the Thanksgiving holiday, I calmly confronted her. Gave her examples of my reasoning. Gave her a specific name. She denied everything. She assured me of her love for me and our family. She kept this assurance going for a few days. 2 weeks after this episode, I find out from my kids that the guy I mentioned above had been coming over. I confronted her again and she admitted to having an inappropriate relationship with him and lying about it. No sex, but sexting and visiting at his house and ours. You'd think this was rock bottom, but it wasn't. We talked and cried for 2 days. We decided to go back to marriage counseling and make things work. I asked her if there was anyone else. I wanted to make sure all the cards were on the table before trying to repair things. Christmas Day. We were happy, talking about fixing our marriage and how much we loved each other. I felt insecure, but hopeful we could make things work. She passed out after a wonderful evening with our families, and I decided to look at her phone. Shocking is an understatement. First, I found that she'd been sexting the guy I mentioned above just hours before, telling him how much she missed him and that she wishes he was here. She said she just wanted to let him know that she loved him. Second, I find she'd also been texting another guy, sexual texts, missing him, and how she's dying to see him again. This is all while she's proclaiming her love for me and her family. Turns out the relationship with the second guy had been going on for months. Unimaginable sexting discussions, pictures, and plans to meet. She actually did travel hours away from my parents' house to visit her family on 2 occasions and met up with him. One occasion was during the Thanksgiving trip I already mentioned. There's more. There were other guys in there. Nothing explicit, but definitely inappropriate discussion and talks about seeing each other again. Heartbroken. Confronted her again with the evidence. She says there's something wrong with her. She doesn't know why she's doing it, but wants to stay together. She says she's never had sex, intercourse with any of them. What do you do? It seems trust in this relationship is dead. Thinking about my kids growing up in a divorced home is heartbreaking. Is there a disorder that causes this? We have some marital issues, but normal everyday stuff. Stress, kids, money. We are sexually active, very active, and not boring active. What would you do? I love her, but am I a fool? Update. Just wanted to add some additional information after reading the comments thus far. 1. No paternity test is needed. We had to do IVF because she can't get pregnant on her own. 2. She is still in therapy and has told her therapist about the other men. She said her therapist has urged her to stop and tell me, but obviously that hasn't happened. 3. She has admitted to other cheating prior to our relationship and marriage. Basically, that sometime in her mid-20s, she preferred non-monogamous relationships. She has admitted to being the other woman in affairs prior to our dating. 4. She's a good mother to our children, and they love her dearly. It's obvious what I need to do. She is a serial cheater, addicted to the attention and excitement of being chased. This doesn't make things easier. I thought she was my soulmate. Heartbroken. First reaction from too old for this nonsense. Seems like a very simple problem to solve. Hire a lawyer and file for divorce. Stop being her second choice. You're her safety net while she's out screwing randoms. Adults don't just visit. They screw. The disorder she has is called morally corrupt broken human syndrome. The course of treatment is learning morals as a young adult. Next reaction from Coca-Cola Kid. Second choice? Sounds as if he is her 12th choice or further back. AMC Unlimited thinks, sounds like he is the ATM. Username 196116191 says, yep, the ATM. OP, you don't want to break your family, but is your children seeing her bring strange men into the house while you're not there emotionally healthy? I think it's more damaging. Send the kids to a therapist. Hopefully, you can use what the therapist finds in a custody battle. I would also have them DNA tested. Next chime in from Blue Dolphins 1221. You should have saved the screenshots and shared them among her affair partners. Contact 3 cutthroat lawyers. Get STI tested. Get financials in order. Get evidence of affairs and share with chosen lawyer. Do not leave the home as that is seen as abandonment. Tell her she needs to leave within the next 2 weeks. Fight tooth and nail for full custody. You want to be with your children as your soon-to-be ex-wife is morally corrupt. Clowrog chimes in. I know when I trade nudes with women that when we finally hook up, we usually only play Uno or Scrabble, but never sex. What would ever give me the impression after hours of sexting that real sex is on the table? Smarten up, friend. Putch80 says, she says she's never had sex intercourse with any of them. Just asking the obvious, but you know this is 100% BS, right? She is absolutely screwing some, if not all of these guys. Get an STD test. A paternity test would also be a good idea. Moving on. Karma really did its job. Me, 22 male, and Kay, 20 female, were in a relationship of 2.5 years. Until 2 weeks ago, everything was perfect. We moved to a new city together, living separately, laughed, had a deep connection, and great sex life. We told each other how much we loved each other every day, and it seemed like our love only grew and grew. I thought this was the person I would spend my life with, and she always told me I was the one for her. Just 5 weeks ago, she met some new friends, which were also some guys. I was fine with this because I also have friends that are women. I started noticing that she was hanging out more often with this one guy, and I could feel her pushing away from me. When I addressed these feelings, she said that it was all in my head, up to the point where I felt like I was losing my sanity. A couple of days later, she finally told me that she was in love with him and vice versa. When she told me, I was only relieved, because I knew I wasn't crazy. We spoke about it, and she told me I was the one for her, and she would break her friendship with him. This was perfect for me. The weeks went on with her secretly hanging out with him, and her telling me the next day, crying that I was the only one for her, because I found out and confronted her. I kept trusting her and believing in us. I felt like our relationship was strong enough to get through this, until yesterday when I called her because I felt something was wrong. She told me she had been with him for the weekend and that she wants to break up with me. The same night, I could see that she had all kinds of sex playlists on. We share Spotify. This has been the worst weeks of my life. I have never been so connected to a person in my entire life. We have built up such an emotional connection with each other that she just throws me away like it was nothing. I'm just so confused. My mind is just broken right now. Does anyone know how to get over betrayal like this? Update. So many questions and still so confused. 8 days ago, I posted about my story with infidelity. Still all day long, all I can think about is what just happened. I just can't get my head around it. My friends tell me she is posting pictures and videos of her and her new guy on social media. How can someone just move on so quickly? 4 weeks ago, she wanted to move in with me. And only 2 weeks ago, she told me I was the love of her life. The last 2 times I spoke to her, on the phone, she just sounded so cold to me. I know they have been smoking a lot of weed together, so maybe that numbs her feelings as well. But how can someone I've been through so much with just leave like it's nothing? I still love her and I wish that would go away. I just need some closure. All these questions in my head are driving me insane and I can't focus on anything. Should I meet up with her to talk and get this closure, or just leave her alone and wait till it gets better? Update. I listen to this every day and it really helps. Hi guys, last week I posted my experience with infidelity. I got some great support from a lot of good people here. I want to do something back for the community. That's why I wanted to share this with you. I found this YouTube clip which gives me a lot of hope. I've been listening to it every day to remind me of reality. Hope it helps you out. Have faith. We're all going to be okay. You can find the link in the description below. Update. Karma really did its job. I still don't have contact with her, but I've seen her a couple of times and yesterday my family updated me on her. Her life has collapsed. She doesn't have contact with the affair partner. She is severely depressed, quit school. Also, she doesn't really have a home. She comes from a broken family and doesn't want to return, but also she doesn't really have a support network in our new city. She supposedly has even been subscribed antipsychotic medication. Basically, she has hit rock bottom. I see a lot of posts on here of people waiting for karma doing its work. Seems like eventually it will. Even though it helps that you won't be the only one hurting from the situation, knowing that your ex is in pain won't give you any satisfaction. I really hope she'll be alright. Our first reaction comes from Buttcat. This all sounds nice and some will embrace this and feel good reading your story. Just something to think about. All you've really established is that she had a great deal of dependency on you. Ask yourself, as she stayed faithful only because she was dependent on you, would that be a good thing? Would you be delaying the inevitable? Or if she stayed faithful and left, and then you took her back, would that be a good thing? Honestly, and I know this is painful and twisted, she may have done you a favor cheating, gave you the clear picture that allowed you to jettison her from your life. Longer term, you'll be way better off. Just a different perspective. Judgmental Panda chimes in next. Nice. Although I don't usually encourage waiting for karma, it may or may not come, and if you wait around yet, it never comes. Things can get dark. That being said, I do believe upwards of 80% of cheaters will face karma at some point. Humans in general are social animals. Doing what the majority considers immoral won't help you, whether that is struggling with guilt or being ostracized. Those that tend to make bad choices will continue to do so, especially if they believe it wasn't a bad choice, or there were no repercussions for doing so. I personally found it easier just to cut her entirely out of my life, which I guess was easier since we were never married. Neither of us using social media and me leaving for a grad program on the other side of the country helped too. I haven't heard absolutely anything about her since the day we split up. I won't lie and say I didn't hope for her to face karma in the first year or so, but wondering about that just kept me engaged in thinking about her. Eventually, realized it was better to just distract myself whenever I found myself thinking in that direction. Now, I genuinely wouldn't care if she was homeless or a millionaire, whether she has a happy family or is in prison. It just simply isn't my problem. Granach is the next chime in. Walking the Road, QC, SI 195, RA 350 sister subs. How about you? Are you still in the same city? How are you doing? Were you able to build up a social network? Has she ever tried to get in contact with you again? Why is your family updated about how she is? OP chimes in. I am doing better. I still live in the same city and have expanded my social network. It still bothers me every day, but I just kind of learned to live with it. It helps that I have people around me who want to know how I feel. Around 3 weeks after it happened, she contacted me apologizing and making promises. She sent some letters and we've spoken in person a couple of times, but it really confused me and set me back in my healing process, so I asked her to stop contacting me, and she respected this wish ever since. We haven't had contact for about 7 weeks now, I think. My parents informed me without consent, but it doesn't really matter. Thank you for asking. One more thought coming at you from OK Bass 2557. Karma. The girl that ripped my heart out and damaged me for years to come by sleeping with a friend and coworkers, causing me to lose my job, dignity, and about everything else I had, got a big dose of karma, more than ever should be given out. When I think karma, I'm going for a fair partner cheats on her. She realizes she messed up, is hurting as much as I did, and is genuinely remorseful, and is on the straight and narrow the rest of her life, blah blah blah. My case, she marries the affair partner, then cheats on him, gets knocked up by another dude, and I didn't hear anything after that for years. The next I hear about her, she is dead. Cancer ate her away to nothing, leaving her daughter to fend for herself. I was mad at this woman forever. Still am a little bit, but I didn't want her dead. As mad as I am at her, she still gave me a couple of the best years of my life. I don't miss her. Never wanted to see her again. But karma in this case was just too much. Maybe I just have too much compassion for people? Anyway, be careful what you wish for.